We are back with part 12 and the final installation of the manual swap series on my 1988 Saab 900 Turbo that's sitting right here behind me. You all might be wondering, I thought this manual swap was done. I thought that, this series was over with, and my plan was always to end the series having the car 100% back together. Now, because this instrument cluster took me 3 months to fix, if you did not see that video, by the way, click up here in the top corner. That was certainly an adventure. But because that took so long to fix, I held off on reassembling the rest of my interior. Today, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the rest of the interior installed. You can see we've got a lot of parts laying out here. I actually just watched back my video where I pulled it all apart, and believe it or not, I said in that video it was 110 degrees out when I did that job, and you can see I'm now wearing a sweater. It was 34 degrees this morning. So yeah, definitely been a long time. So I'm gonna get to starting on this. Not really looking forward to this first part, but the longer I sit here and wait, the less I'm gonna want to do it. So let's get started. I just put the radio cage in. Now I'm going to slide the radio in because if you might remember when I pulled this apart, I couldn't get this radio out of the cage with the actual radio tool, which I have sitting right under there. So I had to actually disconnect like all 6 connectors from the back of here to get the whole thing out. So there's that. You might have noticed I also had my radio code written on top of the actual radio and on the cage itself in case I ever need that again. I'm probably going to need to put it in when I reconnect this all. All 5 of the radio plugs are connected. I'm getting a little red light there, which is a good sign. I've got this big mess. So I'm going to tackle the climate controls next because I know those are going to be difficult. And then hopefully all these little buttons should be pretty straightforward and simple. Been about 45 minutes since I've filmed an update. Getting these climate controls all hooked up, and especially the part that goes on the temperature, or not the temperature, I guess the direction for the vents. That was a pain because there's 3 screws on it. If you're doing this, I'd recommend doing the radio and the radio cage after you do this. Do this first because it's the most complicated part. But now I think we're hopefully on the home stretch. These were the difficult parts, so we just gotta plug these 4 in. I've got them all numbered from when I pulled it apart, so they're already put through the proper holes. I looked through pictures of when I took it apart to make sure they're all in the proper spots as well. Although in theory they should kind of be interchangeable, but we're not going to try. We've got all these plugged in. Nothing is actually bolted in yet, but before we do that, I want to test and make sure everything works and nothing is swapped. It shouldn't be because I labeled everything, but I'd rather find out now than after I put it all together. And these AC controls, not sure why that's not working. Maybe if we start the car. Nothing coming out. I'm gonna have to figure that out. The fan's not even kicking on. Could be a relay issue, I'm thinking. H on here is air conditioning, which is this one right here. And when I opened it up, this one was sitting right here, which is for the fog lights. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I swapped this one in here. It didn't make a difference. John thinks it has something to do with the fans possibly, but I don't think it's anything that's going to prevent me from putting this back together the rest of the way, which is just kind of what I really want to get done, if I'm being 100% honest. So that's gonna be a future problem. Any suggestions you guys have for why I can't get anything to work, please let me know. I do know that my fans, those fans do work. But again, any suggestions are welcome. This will hopefully be one of the last kind of tedious and irritating parts. That is these instrument panel bolts, which there are 4 of them all along the bottom of the dashboard, and they're all different lengths. So I mentioned this when I pulled it all apart. There's different lines and markings on them. There's been a couple 900s at the junkyard, so every time I've gone and gotten parts off of them, I've grabbed all the dashboard bolts because I know I was missing some on mine. So I've got them all lined up here, 1 through 4. Let's hope these go in nice and smooth. Those dashboard bolts were a nightmare, if I'm being honest with you guys. 2 of them are not fully like connected. It's just how it is. They're gonna be impossible to get. The instrument panel's not gonna come out as a result, so I'm not really worried about it. But now let's do this little piece right here. It's been about 6 hours worth of work, but it's all back together, 100% reassembled. I guess in essence, the manual swap complete. Honestly guys, I've had this car torn apart for so long, I kind of have forgotten what it looked like before it was torn apart. It's kind of crazy to see it all back together. Keep in mind, remember I bought this car and then about 2 or 3 weeks later I was tearing it apart, starting on the manual swap. But just to see this thing fully back together is awesome. If you guys are wondering, since I finished repairing my gauge cluster, I've put 87 miles on the car and it's been perfect so far. It does have a very slight misfire at idle, so that might be one thing to tackle in a future video. I also got to figure out why that window does not go up and down. I'm sure it's something pretty simple. Now that the car is finally 100% back together though, that marks the completion of the manual swap. Again guys, this is told me 6 months ago this is something I would have done, obviously with the help of so many smart and knowledgeable people along the way. I'm just so happy to see this actually done. So Once again, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. I'm going to have a very cool compilation video coming up sometime soon showing all of the work that's been done on the manual swap for this car. But you guys will see that at a later date. I'm done talking. Thank you all so much for watching. See you next time.
Take it easy.